Um, Hello, my name is Eva Herrera, and today I will be presenting on Mayan gods and their sacrifices. So, first, I would like to give a brief background of Mayan history. And according to history.com, from an article titled Maya, they were a strong empire in Mesoamerica from the years 1800 BC to the abandonment of their cities in 900 AD. And according to Laura Garcia, they are well known for their paintings and pottery because this is how anthropologists and archaeologists are able to piece together Mayan history due to the fact that Bishop Diego de Landa went and burned their hieroglyphs. Um, and they are heavy on their religious beliefs due to the fact that they believe that if they gave offerings, then they would stay in the good graces of their deities. So one type of offering would be sacrificial, whether it be from yourself, an animal, or a victim. Um, and other ways is by pottery and jewels. But the highest form of sacrificial offering that they would try to give was blood, sacrificial offerings. This was due to the fact that humans were seen as the highest entity, and being able to give the highest entity to their gods felt like they would be able to stay in their good graces. So on this slide, I mainly just wanted to go over the word for their deities that they used. And according to Laura Garcia, Ku or Kua was how they would refer to their gods. And also, they would split one god into four cardinal points so that he or they would be able to watch over all corners: east, south, north, and west. On this slide, I wanted to touch on the Palenque triad, which is siblings of gods by the names of G1, G2, and G3. G1 and G3 are the eldest, so they are known to represent the hero twins in the Mayan gods of book Popol Vuh. All these siblings are born 18 days apart from each other, and G1 is associated with Chak Shipchak, while G3 is associated with Ahua Kin or Kinichahua. However, G2 is still a god, but they are mainly drawn or painted when special occasions or events were occurring, or they were used, their glyphs were used in rulers' names. G2 is also associated with sacrificial offerings such as bloodletting. Mayan deities. In this slide specifically, I wanted to go over the three gods that Laura Garcia spoke about in her article, The Mayan Gods, an Explanation from the Structure of Thought. So the three ones were Kinichahua, Tak, and Itzamanash. So Kinichahua is the sun or solar god. They are seen as a negative deity because this god would cause droughts that would kill the crops that the Mayans were growing. It is also stated that this god is associated with God 3. Chak is the god of rain and lightning. And this is an example of one god that is split into four cardinal points because Chak is split into Chak Shipchak, which is the god that watches over the east. And Chak Shipchak is associated with God 1. Itzat Manash is the god of heaven. He also created Mayan people. So as he is seen to control the skies, Mayans will pray to him during a drought so that it would rain. So he shares responsibilities with Chak. This is a picture of all three of the gods that were mentioned in Laura Garcia's article. I know that bloodletting is a type of sacrifice, which is sacrificing yourself to your gods. However, I wanted to mainly focus on human sacrifices. So since hieroglyphs from the Mayans were burned, so we don't really have their accounts on their sacrifices, I will mainly be going over Spaniards' viewpoints and how they viewed it. So one Spaniard that saw these sacrifices was Bishop Diego de Landa. In his book, Relaciones de las Cosas de Yucatan. He describes victims being painted with blue, having a mitre on their head before the ceremony, and then when the ceremony commenced, the victims would be laid down on a big rock. The priest would grab a flint stone, cut beneath their nipple, reach their hand into the victim's chest, and pull out their heart. Another sighting by Bishop Diego de Landa was before the ceremony, of course, the victim is painted in blue with the mitre on the head as well. However, this time their genitals were pierced, and the blood from their genitals was then offered to the gods, which was then, after that offering occurred, they would go put a white mark on the victim and then stab them with an arrow through that part until the victim was dead and the offering was complete. Also stated by Bishop Diego de Landa is some victims were thrown down a well alive, and it was said by a priest that they would come back in 3 days' time, but he never saw them reappear. And according to C.L. Kiefer now, he has a sighting from a Spaniard named Diego Quijada, which he states he also saw a boy being thrown down a sacred sinkhole or cenote, which was called by the Spaniards, so that they can communicate with the Mayan deities. But also children were mainly used as sacrifices. Their hearts were removed from their body to appease the gods to end a drought or to help their land after a hurricane struck. Locations, the main locations for these sacrifices is Belize. And according to Hope Crone in his article Human Sacrifice Among the Mayan, Analysis of Patterns in Belize, he was able to go in depth on one location called Cielo. And at this location, there are secondary burials that occur in households or ceremonial context. And in one case in the plaza flooring, there was discovered cutting marks on the cranial of a victim that showed no healing, which led to the conclusion that this victim was used as a sacrifice. And another location also in Belize is Midnight Terror Cave. So C.L. Kiefer Nels, as I stated before, one location that he mentioned where the sacrifices would happen is in a sinkhole or a well. But his main focus was on Midnight Terror Cave. And here he was able to find 118 individuals deposited at this site. 16 of these individuals had 28 instances of blunt force trauma, sharp force trauma, and scalping. The locations of these brutal traumas were found on the ends of long bones, the sternum, the cranium, coming to the conclusion that they were killed, then left in the Midnight Terror Cave, these victims. Conclusion. Here I would just like to say, overall, I enjoyed learning and researching more information on the Mayan society and exploring the gods that they worshipped. I think being able to discover the locations that were used to practice their human sacrificial rituals has helped me understand the importance they felt on always having offerings for their deities, because they wanted to stay in their good graces and for their gods to continue to protect their community and the people who resided in them. Thank you for giving me your time so that I was able to present my findings and help shed some light on the traditional practices of the Mayans. And this is just my resources page. Thank you so much.